Did you know that Hwa Ryun is canonically the most beautiful woman in Tower of God? Of Season 1, the regulars, according to SIU. It's gotta be the eye patch, bro. It's gotta be. Hwa Ryun is obviously a character who her entire point of existence is the fact that we don't know that much about her. We don't have these flashbacks of when she was a child, or maybe how she met up with FUG, or whatever. We don't have that yet. I hope we get to see that. But we do know some things about Hwa Ryun, from little hints here and there, or facts about her species, and her goals in the organization, at least as far as we can tell. Obviously, SIU could be hiding a lot of things, and I'm sure he is, but Hwa Ryun became a main character during Season 2. She is a part of Baam's squad just as much as Kun and Rak, you know? She is one of the main characters, so let's break her down. Let's talk about her. So Hwa Ryun is Viol's guide. She is the guide of FUG, I would even say. Like, obviously, she's not the only guide from FUG, because we know So-O is Kel Halam's guide. But guides, in general, are just extremely rare. And I actually made an entire video breaking down guides. You can check that out by clicking the card. But overall, guides are rare. And Hwa Ryun is actually the only regular who is a guide, aside from Yuto. Now, Yuto is kind of like, we barely know anything at all about Yuto, not even what Yuto looks like, but aside from Yuto, who's kind of a special case, Hwa Ryun is very, very, like, unheard of. A regular being a guide is crazy. Although I guess we do have a lot of ranker guides like So-O, Evan, and Illumik, and obviously for them to be rankers, they had to once be regulars, but it's still a very, very rare case. Not only that, but she's also special because she isn't even a regular anymore. Hwa Ryun failed on the second floor. Like, Baam and Laro were the two wave controllers who ended up passing that test. So Hwa Ryun, she climbs the tower with them, but she doesn't have to take the tests or anything like that, because she's not a regular. She's kind of like beta in that way. Like, it's not this thing where you're blocked off from climbing. Obviously, you know, it's under the scrutiny of the people who are watching these things. They don't know this about her and about beta, but they're able to still climb the tower, just more undercover, I guess. Now, obviously, Hwa Ryun is a guide of FUG. She was sort of, it's very mysterious how this happened, and even I, like, don't know the full extent of maybe the order that she received, but she was sent from FUG to basically infiltrate the second floor, and ultimately her goal was finding Baam, like this irregular, you know? And it's weird because she was assigned to be Rachel's guide with like Han Song and everything, but then she ended up basically ditching Rachel and then was like, nah, Baam is gonna be the one I follow. Which makes me think, was Rachel, the whole like following Rachel thing, was that just a ploy by her, you know? Because she just, like, as soon as she was assigned, she was like, actually just kidding, I'm gonna be Baam's guide. And it makes me wonder, like, okay, so what was the entire plan there? Were they actually interested in Rachel, but found out she was pathetically weak? And is that why Hwa Ryun in the Crown game immediately attacked Rachel, but then maybe when she saw what Baam was capable of, she was like, wait a minute, this is the real one we should be looking out for? Because we have to remember, I hate to say it, but Rachel is technically an irregular, and Dorsey does say she has this aura unlike anything she'd ever felt before. Now, Hwa Ryun is a member of the species of Red Witches, which means one way or another she originates from the Floor of Death, kind of like Baam. I mean, Baam was also born on the Floor of Death, but we know that the Red Witches, they all like, that's their central location, is the Floor of Death. We see other Red Witches just like Hwa Ryun, and yeah, like they're known for being guides. So the guides in the tower are either Silver Dwarves or Red Witches, as I explained in that other lore video. And basically, Hwa Ryun has this ability to see paths. You know, sometimes literally, sometimes not. It's very weird. It's never like visualized for us, the audience. But basically, she's able to sort of see the future, but it's not as blatantly obvious as like Hackney, for example. It's more like she knows the method to reach a certain destination. For Silver Dwarves, it's more like a crossroads, and then for Red Witches, it's like a path. It's basically like if you want to do this, you have to do this kind of thing. When they're in the maze, she knows the path to get through the maze. When she's running away from Angel, she knows the best way to cut across the stairs. She finds the path. And then Emily is the device that basically gets in the way of that, because Emily is this man-made creation from the workshop that its entire existence is to alter these paths. So I would almost look at it as like a separate dimension that guides can see. And it's almost like Emily is able to basically alter and twist that dimension. She's basically a human GPS, as SIU once said. Also, just for clarification, I think I may have slightly messed up the difference between red witches and silver dwarves. Really, red witches are all about fate. They're all about fate and sort of knowing the broad future. They can see farther, but it's not as specific. I mean, the whole details are in that video, but dwarves are more like the immediate crossroads. But Hwa Ryun she can see through the maze, you know, it's not like it's all about fate. It's like, no, guides are also just GPSs at the end of the day. Now, what's interesting about Hwa Ryun is that even though she's a guide, she also can do combat. You know, we've seen her fight a few times throughout the series. First was during the crown game. She had this like pole-looking weapon with two little like blades on the end. They weren't really blades, but they were like sharp edges, I suppose. And she was very, very strong, very, very gifted, you know? And I feel like if she had really wanted to, she probably could have beaten out Baam during the positions test, but who knows, that's all up to speculation. And we also see her fight as Yuto later on. Now, she also, what's interesting, is she fights then with a double-bladed like scythe as well, which makes you wonder, like, Hwa Ryun must prefer these kinds of weapons, you know? Although she was in disguise as Yuto, so maybe she was fighting as Yuto, which makes it even more impressive. She was placed into the wave controller position, but to be honest, we haven't seen her use that much Shinsu. We know her staff was able to float, you know, and stuff like that, but we also have seen her take the position of a scout when she's used two observers at once, and when she was basically disguised as Yuto, you were sort of led to believe that she was essentially acting as a scout. Now, Hwa Ryun has made some accurate predictions, which is pretty interesting. She told Baam that Karaka was pretty likely to get onto the Hell Train, especially after everything that happened at the workshop. You know, Karaka wasn't just gonna give up on Baam and the Thorn and everything. And he did. Karaka boarded the Hell Train and found out about what happened to Pedro and all that stuff. She also predicted Prince's death, which I do think this was intentional by SIU. Although the scene could be seen as comic relief, she does say, you'll be one of the first to die, or something like that, or you'll probably die, you know? And he does. He's angry, like, why would you, how dare you? But he dies. Spoilers. Prince dies. And she also told Baam and Wangnan that if they go down this path, their teammates will die. And both Prince and Arcraptor die on the Hell Train. Now, I mean, there's also other people who die, but those people, like Moontari and Hongjo, like those people I wouldn't really consider Baam's teammates. Prince and Arcraptor are the big ones. Hwa Ryun has a lot of say in FUG. Like, we think of her as like another one of the regulars, even though she's technically no longer a regular. But really, Hwa Ryun has so much say, doesn't she, Luca? Hwa Ryun is insane, huh? Not only does Hwa Ryun work directly with Jin Sung and sort of act as his guide sometimes, but she also has a direct line of communication with Grace Marchea Luzlek. Full video on Luzlek by clicking the card. Dude, Luzlek is the freaking leader of FUG, dude. Luzlek is insane. And Hwa Ryun can just be like, boop, boop, she has him on speed dial. Hwa Ryun has Luzlek on speed dial. This is the dude that worked directly with V and Arlen Grace. Like, this guy's a big deal, and Hwa Ryun and him, they're on speaking terms, you know? Like, we have to remember that Hwa Ryun is an important member of FUG. She's a guide. That is such a big deal. She's directly working with Jin Sung, with Jovial Grace. She is essential to FUG. Right? Like, we sort of think of her maybe as like, oh, she's obviously really important, but, you know, to the big, you know, the 10 family heads and Luzlek, and they're on another league. Yes, they are. But when you're a guide, you're sort of able to cross that boundary because that's how special you really are. What I thought was really fascinating about Hwa Ryun was apparently she obviously calls Baam her god. Jovial Grace is her god. We've seen other people call Baam this before, like Shia. But Hwa Ryun, she's called him that from the beginning, bro. Like, season 1. Like, her entire goal and her entire life revolves around Baam. She is the ultimate Baam simp in a lot of ways. But what I love about their relationship is apparently when she calls Baam my god, it's not really like, my god, like in a bowing sense, but the way it's written in Korean is almost like it's a pet nickname for Baam, like almost like a more cutesy way of saying it, almost like it's her little nickname for Baam. So it's not really like she's saying, my god, and like, I worship you. It's more like, you know, you're my god. Like, hey god, what's going on? You know, it's maybe I'm misunderstanding that, but from what I gather, their relationship isn't as formal. The way she calls him my god is more informal, and therefore you can gather a lot more about their relationship. And yeah, it's true, SIU did say that she is the most beautiful regular in season 1, but not only that, he specifically said there's like a reason for it. He basically insinuated that there's going to be some kind of revelation, or there's some kind of importance to her beauty, which is kind of strange for me because we've seen other red witches too. It's like, what makes Hwa Ryun so special? I'm not saying she's not beautiful, because she's freaking gorgeous, but why would her beauty come into play? I don't really know. Maybe SIU's gonna scrap that. He has, you know, sort of gone back and erased a couple of the things he said from a long time ago, but it's still very interesting. And we're gonna end on this, possibly the most important fact about Hwa Ryun. Not her beauty, not her powers, or being a guide, or being in FUG. No. Hwa Ryun actually likes her eye patch. I know, it's crazy. She likes it. I don't know what it is. Maybe because Baam is the one that gave it to her, or maybe because she just looks cool. And you know what? I can't really blame her. Hwa Ryun with the eye patch, mwah, it's so good. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, Towers and Gods episode 1 was streamed last Thursday. To everyone who showed up, thank you so much. But if you haven't seen the episode yet, the VOD is still up. It's basically Tower of God mixed with Dungeons and Dragons. It was so much fun. Like, it's a blast. And next episode is going to be a week from Thursday, October 21st, and we're going to upgrade a lot of the things. We're going to use some other ways to make it more visually interesting. You guys said you wanted like a map, maybe a way to see what we rolled with the dice. We're going to find ways to implement all of this, so stay tuned for that for sure. God of High School returns tomorrow. I'm back in full force with content and everything. And of course, the Pokemon Tower of God Nuzlocke, which is terrifying but awesome, is returning on Friday as well. Thank you so much to all of the patrons who make this content possible, especially the Kings of the Tower, the high rankers, you know, even the rankers. I mean, all of you, anyone who supports the channel in any way, especially the patrons. Like, I really appreciate you guys, and I'm going to be getting to your video suggestions now that I'm back. They're all super fun, and I can't wait to talk about it and communicate with you guys even more. And with that, I'll see you guys in my next Tower of God lore video. Take care.